Exciting time of the year. Had a great scrimmage this morning in the stadium with our team. Very pleased with a lot of things today. I'm pleased with the week overall, and excited about some of the things I saw this morning. And I don't know. Camp's kind of done now. We start getting ready for our opener. Starting at the beginning of the week. So I know the kids are pretty excited about that. I think the staff is too. So camp's been challenging. It's been a tough one, but I think that we definitely finished trending pretty quickly. So like I said, pleased with a lot of things I saw this morning. We're about a third of the way through the tape before I came up here just a minute ago. So, but excited to finish that up with the kids and get started with our preps for Michigan. Questions?
Raise your hand. Coach, I know you kind of challenged your team after scrimmage one. Do you feel like they met the challenge this week as you earlier review of the film?
Absolutely. I was disappointed in a lot of things last week, but it's the first scrimmage. I thought that, I'll tell you, at the beginning of the week, they practiced very, very hard. Everyone knows the kind of heat we had here this week. So I thought it was very challenging on them physically and mentally, but I thought we needed that. I think they responded to that challenge. And then, I think they challenged themselves that, we're better than what some of the mistakes and things we showed last week. And I thought we came out, we were very, very clean today, which was the most pleasant thing for me to see from an execution standpoint.
Coach, given the degree of roster change these days, talk about the challenge maybe of building kind of a cohesiveness within a team.
Well, I think that's unfortunately going to be kind of the norm moving forward. And, it's, trying to get the cohesiveness on, your different units, your lines and your receivers and quarterbacks. I think there is a challenge there. And, but I think that's something that we've got to adapt and evolve to. I do think that kind of familiarity and feeling comfortable with each other is probably one of the reasons why we look so much better today than we did last Saturday.
Yeah, please make sure you raise your hand when you hit your microphone.
Coach, what's your timeline as far as getting ready for Michigan when you guys get back to work on Tuesday and then leading up to your first game week?
Well, we want to finish up with a scrimmage with our kids today and tomorrow, and then Monday, we have scouting reports and everything, ready for them. So we'll distribute those on Monday, and then Tuesday is, we're practicing against Michigan, and so we'll have our scout teams trying to give us those looks, and give us 2 weeks to prepare for them in the opener. Now we prepared some throughout preseason camp. The special team stuff we did today was against Michigan's special team stuff that we scouted from last year. So we're full bore and getting ready for the opener now.
Coach, how would you compare this year's camp to past camps? Obviously, year's 5 different than year 1, but
yeah.
Anything go better maybe than years past? Changes from past years?
Well, it's every year's different because every team's different. I think that you have some inexperience out there this year, so you have a lot of, like I said, getting familiar with each other, getting guys familiar in different roles. But you also have a lot of players that have been in the program for several years now. So it's been a very competitive preseason camp. I think the kids have practiced very, very hard. I just thought the energy and the intensity and the urgency that we had today on the field was so much better than it was last Saturday. And I think a lot of that comes from them realizing last Saturday that we weren't where we needed to be, and you have enough positive, strong leadership in the locker room that they pulled everybody along, got everybody going in the right direction. So I think it was a very smooth camp, a very solid camp, but every year is different.
Coach, you were talking about the heat this week. Can you talk about the importance of the indoor practice facility?
Well, we needed one when I got here, and that was 5 years ago, so we need one that much worse now. And the thing that, I think the heat index on the field was 117 on Tuesday. And granted, we've got to practice in the heat some, okay? But then, our walkthroughs and our stuff that we have in the evenings, Tuesday evening, we're back outside on the field, walking through, and the heat index is in the high 90s. And, that's fine for a day or two, but you go, 3 straight weeks, it can zap a lot out of you. So I think that, it's definitely something that we need for preseason camp. I think it's something that we're going to need for inclement weather throughout the fall. So it's, I know we're working towards that, but, I'd like to see us hurry up and get the project off the ground from a construction standpoint.
Coach Becker?
Any names you want to give flowery accolades to that maybe exceeded expectations for you in camp or played themselves into positions that you may not have anticipated before?
Well, I think you got a couple there. Probably for me, one of the biggest positives from preseason camp has been Jari Patterson. Certainly a very talented guy coming out of high school, but he's been very impressive. Was very impressive again today. So at the conclusion of practice today, I informed him he was going on full scholarship. So that was a big moment because he's very popular in the locker room. The coaches love him. Our players love him, and so it was great for them to get to celebrate that with him. But he has definitely earned it. I mean, he has worked his tail off last spring, all summer. He's in great shape. But that's just another guy that's added to what is turning into a very solid room. I think Jalen Johnson's been very solid throughout camp. Josiah Hatfield has been very, very solid, very consistent throughout camp. Kerry King has really improved. So I think that receiver room is really coming around. I thought Chase, he did some solid things today, which was good to see. So it was, I think that group has really stood out for me during this preseason camp.
Coach, looking back
Go ahead.
to 2016, and you're preparing a James Madison team to come to East Carolina, what are the similarities in that situation and the season opener this year?
2017, I think.
17?
Yep. None. I mean, I had the number 1 ranked team in the country. I was the best FCS program in the nation. You had, we were the equivalents of a very, very good FBS program. We're sitting here now where we have a very solid FBS program, and we're going to play the number 2 ranked team in the entire nation. Arguably the most talented team in the country. So I think it's a different animal. That night, 2017, I had the most talented team in the stadium. Here, we have a very talented team. We're going up against a very, very talented team. So I don't know how much similarities there are there for that one. Probably a little bit closer similarities would be some of the matchups we've had, maybe at the Citadel or places like that.
Coach Becker?
A lot of noise this offseason about obviously starting the season at Michigan and also a lot of new faces on the roster.
Yep.
How has the team done with blocking out that noise and just focusing on football throughout camp?
They've been focused on themselves right now. They'll get more focused on Michigan moving forward. They're excited about the matchup. They're excited about the opportunity. They're well aware of what we're up against, but at the same time, they've got a lot of pride in themselves, and they'll be excited and ready to go September 2nd.
Coach, say from the Citadel going to South Carolina, then maybe how do you get that team to deal with what's perceived to be a big underdog situation?
Well, the big thing with situations like that is they can't pay any attention to what the outside world, what their opinion is. They've got to focus on themselves. We've got a solid ball club. We've got to go up there and be ready to play. Number 1. I think number 2, they've got to be able to handle the stage. It's going to be the largest stadium any of them ever played in, and so you got to be able to handle that. And then you just got to settle down and go play ball. One of my favorite deals is the Gene Hackman in Hoosiers when he gets to or Coliseum or wherever in Indiana, the state championship game. He goes out there and he has his guy measure the rims and, you know, measure the court and all that stuff to show them it's the exact same size as their gymnasium, you know, back at Hickory High. And a little bit the same thing there. You know, we got to go up there and understand that, you know, once we get on that field, it's the same rules. They got 11, we got 11. We got to go play. But, you know, we've got enough guys that have played against, you know, we played the 13th ranked team in the country last year in the opener. And I think we were 2 touchdown underdogs. So, you know, we ain't gonna pay a whole lot of attention to any of that stuff. We just gotta make sure we're taking care of ourselves when we're ready to play.
Coach, back here.
Coach, you talked about, you know, a bunch of new guys and getting everybody to fit in. Was there anything that you guys did outside of the football realm to like bond, or guys just kind of fit into what you already had?
Well, you know, we do some stuff, you know, throughout the year, like this, you know, throughout the summer, we take them bowling and, you know, they do a lot of different stuff by themselves, in groups and things like that. But that, you know, preseason camp kind of bonds you, you know, because there's nobody else here. There's no students here. It's just them. So all they see every day is us and each other. And, you know, it gets pretty, we joke about when the students come back, just it's, you know, they gotta be careful. So, but it's that whole experience of just kind of being together for that amount of time and the daily grind and working the way they've worked, that certainly is a bonding experience.
Coach, back here.
Coach, there's been a lot of talk about the running back group and that there's a lot of depth there. What can we expect from your guys in the backfield this season?
Well, I think we've got a lot of really good kids in that room. You know, Rajay Harris looks as good as he's ever looked. Marlon Gunn is bigger, faster, stronger, running with authority. Javius Bond is an electric young player that has a tremendous amount of ability. Gerald Green is a tough, hard-nosed competitor that has really good speed. Camaro Edmonds has had a very solid preseason camp, was very good today. So I mean, I think you have a group of guys right there where it's not like you have to just depend on one guy. And we're gonna ask them to do a lot of different things. You know, the luxury of having that kind of depth is now all of a sudden you can use those guys as returners, you can use those guys on special teams, you know, you can play multiple guys together. So I'm really excited about that room. It's a strong room.
Coach, with all the movement going on in college football, we've heard the athletic director's position on how he feels ECU looks compared to the landscape and the potential for any conference realignment. Do you have any position or any thoughts on that at this point?
We're going to play in whatever conference they stick us in. So, you know, I don't have a whole lot of say in that. Or I don't have, let me rephrase, I don't have any say in that. I don't know how much John does either, but I think one thing about John Gilbert is he is very connected nationally. I think he is a very, very savvy operator, and I think we're in very good hands with him as our leader. I think East Carolina University is an incredible institution. We have a special fan base, and we have a very good football program. And so we're excited to be in the American Conference. If that ever changes, we'll be excited wherever we go.
With all the position battles you guys have had across the roster this camp, would you say this has been one of the more competitive camps you've had this year, or in your time?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think maybe the most competitive camp we've had. I mean, it's every position, and it's not like it's not, you know, competition because nobody is good enough. It's competition because there's several guys that are good enough. That's a big difference. I mean, my first camp here, Holt Nailors was the only quarterback in the room that I felt could go out there and take a snap in a college football game. That's it. He had zero competition. That is not what you want. Now all of a sudden you look here and I don't care, you know, we keep talking about the kicking competition. Well, we've got several guys that I think are very, very solid specialists. They're doing a really good job, which has created very intense competition, which that's great because when they get out on that field on game day, that is as much pressure as you could ever imagine. And if you have not been in a competition to prepare you for that, you know, I don't know how you're going to handle it. So it's been and I'll tell you, it's made it a very fun and enjoyable camp too. At least for the coaches, and I think it has for the players too.
Okay, we've got time for one question, one more.
Coach, how did the quarterbacks look today, and how would you evaluate that spot at the conclusion of camp? Is there a clear starter at this point, or how would you sum that up?
I thought both of them were very, very good today. Very good, probably as good as they have been the whole camp. I think we have two very good quarterbacks, and I feel very comfortable with both of them. That being said, we'll announce a starter before we play Michigan, and I feel very good about that.
Okay, Coach, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.